Good morning, everyone. So, right thing, morning session, so people are yet to come, being a Saturday as well. First of all, before starting, I would like to know how many of you are currently involved in any of the concurrent audits or are willing to the concurrent audits. So these are people who are actually currently doing concurrent audits, right? Or willing to do concurrent audits, who enter into concurrent audits as domain or expertise within your organization or as an individual as well. So my topic is actually very, it can be dealt into a lot of extent, but I don't want to give it as a reality check to those who want to enter into a concurrent audit per se. Murtuja sir already gave you a background how it is getting lesser and lesser in scope because of the automation perspective. So starting with the expectation from the concurrent audit starts with from the word concurrent itself. Now you would say what would be a concurrent meaning? Now I can give you this definition and everything. It says it should be a transactional and operational process within the banks, how it is, and it should be continuously and in real time. Now, the concurrent word itself, what we say it when it comes from Oxford, it is something which exists or which happens or it is done at the same time. मैंने भी कल ही देखी वैसे definition Oxford की. So the main expectation is from a concurrent audit, it has to be done at the real time and it should be done at the time when the actual transaction or it is being done. And that is what the expectation of RBI also when it was introduced in 1993 and then revised in the year 2019. So RBI भी रियल टाइम इसके अपडेट्स नहीं कर रहा है. देखो लास्ट 2019 में इसका सर्कुलर अपडेट किया था. पोस्ट दैट देर आर लॉट्स ऑफ चेंजेस ऑन हाउ द वर्क हैज़ बीन कैरिड आउट. Post COVID, you know that it has been also done remotely, and there are lots of things which are being carried out through automation. In last 7 years, lot of automation has been done. So I would say the expectation is a transaction audit. It should not be a substantive or a very we are giving any opinion or thing. It should be a transaction audit. It should be on a transaction, whether it is a loan related transaction, deposit, KYC related audit, a cash verification, or any sort of transaction which is happening within the bank. That transaction audit, it should be perceived from that view and not from a view of that we have to give a figure के ऊपर अपने को certification देना है. It should be a process or a control audit, and rather than it is opinion based audit. And the most important characteristics which I already gave is the real time monitoring. So it is for instantial insights. We need to have a view that a pattern is forming within the transaction which is happening in a bank. So बैंक में अगर कोई पैटर्न फॉर्म हो रहा है तो इट शुड बी लुक्ड एट very carefully. Any sort of pattern, it may be a pattern of how the money is getting deposited, round figures, or transactions which are supposed to be round figure but it is done on a round figure. So वो patterns को अपने को gather karna. Of course automation and those things are already there in anti-money laundering or any other related softwares which are available right now. But रियलिटी देखोगे आप तो बैंक में आप जाइए, आप बोलो कि आपका एक यूडिन भी जनरेट करना है तो आप वो वेबसाइट भी नहीं खोल पाओगे. तो बैंक में आप कोई वेबसाइट का एक्सेस करने की बात करोगे, यू विल वोंट बी एबल टू एक्सेस, यू हैव टू यूज़ योर ओन सॉफ्टवेयर. मतलब यूडिन तो बहुत नॉर्मल बात होगी. जो नॉर्मल अपने ऑडिटिंग के सॉफ्टवेयर है, पावर BI या कोई भी दूसरे टूल्स अपने को यूज़ करने हैं, आइडिया सैम्पलिंग के टूल्स हो गए या OCR रिकग्निशन कोई भी टूल से, वी आर नॉट अलाउड टू डू इट. सो देन हाउ टू डू दैट? द रियलिटी इज़ it has to be the people on ground which are doing it. So your support staff or you yourself have to be equipped with those knowledge which is required. It is nothing. It can be said that automation can be there. You can suggest the bank that this type of automation can be done. This is how exception reports we can generate. You can conduct walkthroughs. What all reports can be generated. You need to have the experience or the basis what reports can be run and what types of exception reports can be generated which can help you better, because as you said, importing or installing our own softwares for auditing, they won't allow, because they have a higher cyber security risks or IT related risks which are far bigger than something not getting detected, because a cyber security threat with the basis our software getting installed in the bank's server, it can be a bank-wide or even can be a country-wide risk also, where not only monetary but a reputational risk also at risk. So, so what are the expectations? Now the expectations, as I said, it has to be immediate detection. It has to be a real-time audit, identification. Right now what is being done, immediate attention. Why we say detection? So when it was introduced in 93 also, there were things which were getting detected, but it might have detected maybe like 6 months or 7 months down the line. That time RBI expected it to get detected in a month's time, but now they are focusing more on doing it on a real-time basis. Like for example, in case of a treasury audit, all the deals, or in case of a domestic trade finance or international trade finance, maybe SWIFT reconciliations which are happening on a concurrent basis, SFMS reconciliations which are getting done, all are done maximum on a T+1 basis. So the immediate detection happens then and there. Although people might say that concurrent audit, it is just a deal ticket hai, to tikde maar rahe hai. वो नहीं है. So you need to do both the analytical part also, detecting any pattern or detecting any revenue leakage or detecting any control lapse which has happened, and that should be flagged as and when it happens. So on a T+1 basis, that is what most of the PSU banks or the private banks are also trying nowadays, except the branch audit factor, where we know the expectation is we need to, for a 30,000 or a 50,000 audit, we are supposed to place 2 people plus a partner also going on twice on a weekly basis. That the biggest expectation on a concurrent audit which is there, so which cannot be done, so except on a branch level basis, which is going to, or that is going to happen in a very very near future. I will say that will be going away. So the centralized concurrent audits or having a specialized concurrent audit is what which is the near future is, and what would be the expectation from an RBI perspective also. Only those areas wherever there is a physical documentation or a human intervention is there only will be the branch level verification. So for example, now in case of private banks where I am doing concurrent audits, the branch level concurrent audits are divided into 3 types of categories. All A, B and C category banks is what they have. So A category banks, they would be doing every month or a normal like PSU audit which are happening. For B and C category, they have done, for B category, they will do once in quarter a visit of a 2-day or a 3-day, depending on any other incident which has happened on that branch, to a 2 or 3 day. They call it a snap audit, which is done on a snap itself. That a snap audit, 2 or 3 day snap itself, they cover each and everything. So that is what is happening. B category and C category obviously half yearly. So that is all they are doing, and slowly and gradually, as we know, PSU banks are also going towards that. So that will also happen. But the good thing is these banks, these are giving them in bulk. So what happens is A category, obviously it is like a normal concurrent audit for each bank, but for B category they may give to a single firm 40-50 branches on a go. So on C category also 70, 80 or 100 branches on a go. That is what they are doing, and which is also helping in their efficiency. Plus they also do a surprise audit. Minimum 1 branch every 3 years, or depending on anything is happened, they do a surprise audit. That surprise audit is such that we as an auditor in this private bank, before the branch door opens, we are supposed to go there, click a photo and give it to the bank that we have already reached there, so as to know whether the branch is opened by the respective person as per the SOP is opening or not. From there to everything, from the KYC or from the cash verification, or if you have the gold loan branches, everything is done on a surprise. The branch manager is not known that is going to happen. Only if we reach, and when the shutter is opened, then they get a mail from the central authority that this audit is going to happen today. So that is a 1-day surprise audit. So these types of audit are what is the next motto which is going to happen in PSUs. Private banks are doing such things, these surprise audits, and also there are other audits like mystery shoppings and those things which are being done. It is actually been done by insurance industry, then slowly it has been adopted by banks also. Mystery shopping is where we go and test whether he is cross-selling or is not cross-selling, he is selling our products the bank's products to of other banks' product also here or not. If we force them to say whether you can get us better interest or better processing fees or less documentation basis. So that is what mystery shopping. So these are the next level things which are happening now in the private bank space, which slowly and gradually will come to other banks. These are done right now also with only the big banks. So immediate detection, when we say it is, I say it has to be real time, and so that it needs to be flagged out. So continuous monitoring. Now, continuous monitoring expectation is that the auditor is sitting there and there itself, and the person who are the maker checker or who are responsible for the same, like in case of SWIFT reconciliation. So RBI woke up when the PNB related scam happened. So continuous monitoring of SWIFT wasn't happening before that. Now there is a continuous monitoring. Every bank, irrespective of the size, has to do a SWIFT reconciliation on a T+1 basis, whether it is a monetary transaction or it is a non-monetary transaction, or it is only a messaging, it's only a MT699 or 799. They have to do a reconciliation. Rather now, the expectation from here is normally there are three systems. So three systems, we are SWIFT, then there is a middle software, and then an STP to the CBS, which is the core banking. So previously what banks used to do when this RBI circular came, they were only checking the CBS and the SWIFT reconciliation. Now RBI came and said that the middle software which is running, you need to do that also. So there is a three-way reconciliation which is now been done for SWIFT reconciliation nowadays. So wherever in these private banks where we are doing this SWIFT reconciliation, our team, because it is bank as a whole, so there are 8 to 10 people only doing SWIFT reconciliation as of now. So, and because it has to be done on T+1 basis, and on T+1 basis, if any error is coming, we need to get the clarification done. So even bank has 7, 8 people additional working only for this SWIFT reconciliation, depending on the size, of course. So there are foreign banks where it gets done in 1 hour by one person, 1 or 2, because depending on the volume. So a continuous monitoring is what is the expectation, and especially in areas which are fraud prone, so that needs to be done. And enhanced efficiency, obviously, if you know that someone is going to do your work, so if we are the, as we say, the concurrent auditor is a 6th eye. So there is a, but nowadays it is not a 6th eye, it is an 8th eye. So there is a maker, checker, verifier, and then the concurrent auditor. But concurrent auditor cannot be made a scapegoat saying that concurrent auditor ने identify क्यों नहीं किया. It is not our responsibility. So it is purely from the maker, checker, and verify as the six eye concept, which was obviously there in the SWIFT since the SWIFT was introduced, but obviously it was not followed to the T. But enhancing the efficiency, it helps to us to improve the operational efficiency. If someone knows that there is a cross-checking needs to be done, and it improves the efficiency. If and only if we also try and identify any control gaps while doing this, or anything which can increase the automation part can be done, or really from not an automation only, but also any checks which are redundant in nature or which is increasing the work, that also can be identified better from a concurrent audit, because a person is doing it on a daily to daily basis, and if he is the best one to identify whether this is a redundant nature of activity which is being done. So, which is of no use, which is of no output, not from a control perspective, from a compliance perspective, or either from a revenue leakage perspective. So, it helps in enhancing the efficiency, because person doing daily is a best bet. So, as we say, the learning curve. So, he will have a better learning curve to ensure that the efficiency increases because of the concurrent audit. And risk mitigation and prevention, of course, it is as I say, the 8th eye. So that will be, it helps in reduction, and most importantly, it helps in a flash reporting. Regulatory compliance and governance, obviously, some people in some of the areas would, in some banks, in some of the areas do it only because of the regulatory compliance. So as I gave you an example of ABC, banks are, it's in case of Forex and domestic trade finance or international trade finance, they are having centralized hub. So, and wherever there is a cutoff amount of, say, beyond 4 or 5 lakhs in trade finance, that is done centrally. So once the branch initiates a transaction, they cannot approve it, and if anything is beyond a 5 lakh, depending on the bank, it's some bank it is 1 lakh, 5 lakh, or some bank it is 10 lakhs. So it is getting centralized. But the hard copy of the documents are with the branch, and approval authority is only at the center level. They have formed some mid wholesale banking branches also, but it is overall getting done or approved at the center branch. So what the private banks used to do is, they only used to get they used to get this trade finance related documents entirely on a sample size basis of the transaction, because getting those at the voluminous level at the branch level is not fit, and RBI has not suggested कि branch audit में हमको continuously करना है. So in those cases, RBI asks कि wherever there are physical documents which are at the branch, every month you have to get them audited, whatever percentage you are saying. So the banks don't want to do it, but it is a regulatory compliance that because of that they are supposed to get this concurrent audit of even this forex related transaction. So sometimes it emancipates from the regulatory compliance, obviously from the RBI circular which is already there, but RBI circular also says you can get it done from your ex-banking staff or your internal staff also for getting the concurrent audit done. But banks obviously, as you all must be aware, are doing it from a monetary perspective, getting it done from an outside or an outsourced agency, CA firms. It is more cheaper than getting it done from hiring people and keeping them on the payroll of the bank. So it is somewhat, we may say it is a regulatory compliance. Some areas are due only because of regulatory ask or regulatory requirement. But that is what we say, it is a reality which because of which it is happening. And as I have already given examples for the operational transparency and accountability, so it obviously ensures that the operational transparency and accountability for all the transaction has been actually happened or through or not. So mostly concurrent observation, when we are doing transaction audit, we not only ensure that there is a compliance check, we also ensure that the accountability or the person who was supposed to make and check and approve, that has been followed to the T or not, because that is very important. The delegation of authority should not be such that the person who was a checker and now he has himself become a maker. So recently in one case of one bank, so we observed that in the treasury the deal, the main CIO, he himself entered the deal, and the dealer who is supposed to enter the deal, he is becoming a checker in that case. Rather, when we check the voice recording, because they are supposed to deal with the broker, that entire dealing and entire transaction or transcript was done by the dealer himself. But the deal ticket which we saw, that was entered by the CIO. So ideal case, it should be a reverse, that whoever is done the transcript or the discussion with the broker, he should be the one who should have actually done the deal. So in that case, finally it was just this thing which my team caught, and when we went into deep, it actually turned out that the deal was 10 basis point in a 100 crore deal is a lot more. So there were a 10 basis point additional amount of 10 basis point additional higher than the rate which was supposed to be dealt by the dealer, it was entered. So it is just a normal thing, but it actually detected a revenue leakage for us and for the bank also. So it should be, it may not have happened, but in that particular case, when we went into deep, so that was the thing which got revealed in that case. So that is what it is, the fraud detection. It is a long shot of fraud detection and the loss prevention. Loss prevention, of course, the revenue leakage from a concurrent audit is one of the major expectation which we can say, and it is an early detection also, which in loss prevention happens. If it is done after 6 months of the transaction getting completed, the customer or the borrower will not say, "Bola, aap 6 mahine tak so rahe the kya?" They will not enter. But if it is been detected on a real-time basis, this really helps. So that is a very good expectation, and which should be, and especially when we are doing the LC or the non-fund based related transaction and the deposit verification, where we check the interest rate, how the same has been charged. So as recent as the IDFC, recently you must have seen that fraud. So in that particular fraud also, rather than the amount getting lost and previously, and it got paid to the Haryana government. But one of the fraud which they said was the interest rate which was promised to us, or which was promised to us to be given as part of this engagement with IDFC particular branch, the interest rate was lesser than what was actually promised. So that would have been detected basis the checking of the interest rate, or what we say an exception report even from the bank server also, if it would have been extracted, that could have been easily detected, and it can be said, because loss prevention not only from because we are not only as a from the bank's perspective, but from the customer's perspective, that if anything which is not as per the fair practice code also needs to be highlighted. So that is the expectation part of it. We can so mostly in these 8 points, the enhanced internal control, obviously we spoke about. Mostly in these 8 points, all the expectation from a concurrent audit perspective gets covered. So now let's look at the reality. What is the reality? What is the challenge in effective implementation? And what is the problem which the banks face or we face as a service provider? The most important part is the resource constraint. As I already said, resource constraint comes from the budget and cost constraints. Now, the bank have a budget which they have decided that this particular branch of this particular size, depending on the deposit size or the advances size, we have a budget of 30, 50,000, 80,000. And this, I say, it is not only the PSU bank, it is also the private banks which say that, because they are also doing it in the pressure of the Reserve Bank of India, which is required. It is not for the, what we already discussed, what is the expectation, not from the expectation perspective, because everything is getting automized and centralized at the level. So resource constraint, I would say, there is an acute shortage of skilled laborers also, concurrent auditors or staff members, which are very difficult to find related to the banking expertise. So most of us would rely on ex-bankers. Okay, so that is the one thing which can be taken care of. Ex-bankers, which we assume can be helpful, but scanning them is also very important, because ex-bankers, not all ex-bankers would be experienced enough to take care of all the areas of the banking. The banking areas are wide. One banker can be very good in the deposit area, but we would put him in a branch which is an advance-led branch, where we are supposed to check the LCs, BGs, or foreign transactions, SWIFT transactions which are happening. So that is not possible. Although we say he's an ex-banker, the client is also happy that we have put an ex-banker, but he will not be able to implement our audit. More so, an example which I gave, 30, 50,000 PSU banks may, and an expectation is we will put 2 people, and what resource actually we put is an article. Resource which we put, even if those are semi-qualified, or even if those are what I say a graduate or a master also, if he's in 2 or 3 year experience, our fees is equal to what it is his pay is. In Mumbai, of course, our fees is equal to what his pay is. So that resource constraint will already be there. So it is what we have to live with, or we have to develop skill concurrent auditors where they have a past experience and they can get done, and they know what is the pain area and what is the majority or areas where the focus needs to be done, who is regularly into those audits. So that is where the inadequate training and skill development. So normally in PSU bank, when we got a concurrent audit, we are supposed to directly go and do the audit there. There is no training, there is no walkthrough, there is no system training which is happening. If at all there is a training which will happen, suppose we are getting any concurrent audit from the month of April or June somewhere, so the training will happen in somewhere in August or September. Till that time what will happen is, we are already delayed by the previous reports. Then they will do a training, and the training is also done centrally online, where 200, 300 auditors already are sitting together, zone-wise in training would be carried out. So what will happen is you cannot raise any question over there. Raising a question becomes difficult. So there is no actual training. Plus they will say they will only allow the partner to be there, partner or a senior personnel. So the training of actual people who on ground who are doing the actual audit, that never happens. A walkthrough, as we know, a normal audit of company or a non-FS related part, we conduct a walkthrough of their processes, right? But here in concurrent audit, where it is already 3 or 4 months delay, and then we are getting a system walkthrough which is on an only very holistic basis. Holistic basis, this is a system, on this system, these deposits are done, or a cash monitoring is done on this AML. How to generate the reports from there, how to get an access there. Do we have created any access ID for that? Most of the banks will not be able to create access ID, because creating an access for the systems it also takes, sometimes I have seen even 2 months for creating those IDs. But when the reports are delayed, it is because of us. So the most important challenge is getting the training and getting the team accustomed to the software is very important. That is why a resource consent is there and will always be there in case of a branch audit. But in case we are doing any centralized system, centralized processing or a retail processing center, or which is done at a centralized level of any of the banks, there is a good system that before giving us a training of the systems which we are used to we are supposed to use, or we are supposed to do the auditing, a proper training happens of each and every team member. And if there is a change in the team member, even then also there is a training which is being conducted by the banks at the central level, because that helps. The resource constraint goes, my reporting delays goes because of that, and it also helps in improving the reports also. So the training and the skill, it is the biggest challenge which is there, because not everyone would be accustomed to the bank software, and they keep on changing the versions. Finacle, apne sabko lagta hoga ki who has seen 5-10 years back, now the Finacle versions, the reporting, the reporting and how the reports are getting displayed, how reports are, that is being keep on changing each and every day. But there are again support softwares which are there within the banking, which also from which the reports can be generated. We are not going to have any access to those. So that is the biggest challenge which we generally face in case of some of the banks. Reporting delays, of course, as I said, the most important part is the real-time basis what needs to be done. Now, the second point is the audit coverage. Now, if in case of a branch audit, if we see a scope, or maybe if you go and see the RBI circular 2019, the scope is so wide, you say कि ये 30,000 में कैसे करेंगे, ये 50,000 में कैसे करेंगे, तो it is very different. So then, but banks want to get it done. So there is an inconsistency in the audit scope, because there are two factors. A particular branch may be a deposit taking branch. It is more focused on CASA. Whereas another branch which is in an industrial area, it would be more focused on LCA or BG, or if an export oriented branch would have those things. So variable coverage is there, but the centralized system or the centralized audit department of the banks, they will give the entire scope जिसमें सब branch एक साथ cover हो जाएगी. Now one person who looking at that scope will not know कि भाई कौन क्या area सब देखना, ये भी देखना, उस चक्कर में जो important focus, the main focus where I need to put, where there is the maximum volume within the branch, that gets lost. So the variable coverage should not be there. It should be point specific, and that is what we need to do when we start a branch. Scope dekh liya, and what the bank, what the particular branch or the what particular area or the particular because banks are not giving all the entire bank as a whole audit to a particular firm. They generally give on the process wise, or they give the branch wise, or a particular area or particular transaction which is happening. So we need to purely see only those areas which are applicable to us. In case of a branch where they give the entire bouquet of the bank activities as a concurrent audit coverage, they do it because for their own benefit. कुछ छूट नहीं जाना चाहिए, नहीं तो RBI बोलेगा ये तुमने स्कोप में नहीं डाला था. But for us as an auditor, we need to define what things which we need to focus more, and what things which are not there in the branch, we need to mention them as not applicable. Technology gaps, I already covered in the training part. It is technology gaps or the knowledge of the softwares. In a given bank, there can be 100, 120 related softwares can be there, which they are using for processing the different type of transactions. So, for example, in only one area which I do for one private bank, that is only the domestic trade finance, we are using 7 softwares within that. So the bank is using 7 softwares. So imagine if I'm starting the audit, I won't be having any knowledge of that 7 softwares. Of course, the common softwares which are being used, maybe the CBS, which is common for most of the banks, or which has been used by many banks. That knowledge can be there, or the SWIFT related knowledge can be there. The importance one can be there. But the supporting softwares, the supporting 4 or 5 softwares are the one which are processing the data and giving the feed to this main software, the SWIFT or the CBS. Those are the software which can help us in getting the analytical data, generating the exception reports, generating the gaps, or generating some additional reports which can help us in getting this audit done on a very analytical basis, also ensuring the 100% coverage area is also been covered. So, and I also said using our audit tools in their softwares, I have tried a lot. We cannot use those, so they won't allow it. And getting our own system, and on that our own system getting their softwares to do the audit, that is also not possible. And taking the data on our softwares to do the analytical, that is also not possible. In most of this private and including the public banks, अपने अगर कितना बोल देते हैं कि peer review के लिए चाहिए होगा डेटा, peer review के लिए चाहिए होगा डेटा, तो भी मुश्किल से मिलता है. Till the time actually the peer reviewer comes and asks us the data, then we go to bank and ask the data. Otherwise, in Concurrent Audit, getting the data and keeping it on our servers for our future references, that is also not possible. So, training, जो ये technology की है, it happens only on the job. Giving them training basis the data which was there and which we did and experience in past, that is also not possible. So technology related gaps because of automation and the digital transformation challenges will always be there, but we have to be equipped, or we have to make sure that we take the proper walkthroughs and proper understanding of the softwares being used. The SOPs and the policy will be there, but the understanding of the software from this SOPs or the policies is very less possibility, and especially our staff which is going there to actually do the work or to carry that particular job, they are getting a job, they're getting a understanding basis the SOP is very difficult to be implemented. So hence the walkthroughs, not only from a point of view of what is done, but how it is done, and what can be extracted from this system is very much important. Inconsistent audit methodologies, obviously there is no standardized audit procedure which can be applied to even a same process of different banks. So an audit which I am doing for one particular private bank, if I am getting an audit of that another bank, there cannot be a similar methodology. They will have different systems, as I said. So inconsistent audit methodologies, it is on-the-job learning is what I would say, on-the-job learning and implementing our acumen and the audit knowledge and basis our expertise then that we can implement. So there cannot be a single audit methodology which I can say, ये adopt कर लो तो काम हो जाएगा. But there is nothing like that. So you have to keep your audit acumen and obviously the knowledge updated to ensure that the audit which is I am carrying out, it is helping the particular bank. Follow-ups and corrective actions. Now, concurrent audit, what we will do is we will put the report that consistently we will say कि ये KYC में high risk वाले का re-KYC नहीं हो रहा है, or in case of any observation we say that in this particular checker is not doing it. So as I said, concurrent audit में limited follow-up नहीं होता because one case होता है, but a pattern can be always seen. We forgot that if it is a continuous observation and it is continuously, it has been coming out from a concurrent audit, corrective action, whether the particular branch or the particular auditee or particular department head has taken or not, that is very important, because that is where our effectiveness will come. Any observation which we are following, and if it is a very repetitive in nature, also depending on the risk categorization, if it comes into even in the low category, but if it is happening on a continuous basis, follow-up needs to be there. Also corrective action and management reply on that, what corrective action they are taking and with the targeted date, that needs to be documented in our report. Otherwise it is what वही मैं जो बोल रहा था साहब में टिकड़े करने का काम हो गया, टिकड़ा करा, इसमें ये ऑब्जर्वेशन मिल गया, वो काम नहीं है. Whether that is getting follow-up is being done and whether the same is corrective action needs to be there or implemented or not, that needs to be flagged. Because observation in case of concurrent audit, a routine nature observation will come. As I said, it is a transaction audit. We are actually checking the transactions which are done, or transactional audit it is. But forming a pattern out of it, a repetitive naturness, and how risk, how the medium, high or low, how risk categorization of that particular transaction is, if it's getting done on a regular basis, that needs to be followed up, and the corrective action needs to be ensured that the same is done or not. In case of PSU Bank, obviously there is a resistance to change and cultural issues. The branch people, they will obviously give you lots of resistance, or they will not take the ownership. You will find that they will obviously prioritize their operational speed and their operational related matters. But obviously bog us down saying that previous auditor used to do this, the previous auditor used to get this done, this is the way he was used to do, आपको ये क्यों देखना है, आपको ये फाइल क्यों चेक करनी है. अगर वो जितना रेजिस्टेंस दिखाता उतना एरिया उसको देखना इम्पोर्टेंट है ही. So but the resistance will be there, and some auditors at concurrent auditors at branch level, they subsume it and they don't take it. ठीक है, ये बोल रहा है कि पिछला auditor ऐसा कर रहा था, but need to fight it out. If we feel it is important, that needs to be done. So the resistance to change has to be overcome, and that needs to be ensured. Some sort of an importance needs to be given to that particular area. But the resistance from the particular auditee or the particular staff, because that will increase his work, not only from a perspective that there is something wrong in that, but also from a perspective because it is going to increase his work some, or even if for a 5-minute work, he will resist for that, because it will increase his 5-minute work every day. Because it's a concurrent audit, so every day they will see that there is a work increasing, so they will resist for that particular, giving that particular data or generating certain reports which we don't have access, or giving us access to some physical reports. एक कैश वेरिफिकेशन में अगर अपने उनको बोलेंगे कि आज मुझे सरप्राइज चेक करना है और दिन में करना है, उसका आधे घंटे का टाइम लगेगा, उसी के बाद we can do that particular surprise cash verification within a day. So this type of challenges will always be there. ये सब अपने डिस्कस कर चुके. Now let's, other than going to this presentation, this you will get RBI guidelines. Obviously we can go through this. So RBI, most of the things which we already covered. So RBI mandate some minimum percentage of some of the areas. The frequency of audits, how the high transaction needs to be done on a daily or a weekly basis. Reporting timelines, now they say it should be 7 working days of the audit period, the reporting has to be done. And emphasize, I say high risk area is what they emphasize, or wherever there is an integration, or where there is digital platform which we use, or where there is a cyber security related threat that needs to be done, and requires the concurrent auditor to possess specialized banking expertise. That is an expectation from a regulator which you see, and vis-a-vis what we already covered. The coverage shortage would be there, or they would give the coverage. Reality is they will give the coverage, but whether it is possible to be done by us, given the fees which they have given, very minimal. A branch in a PSU bank having 50,000 crore of advances, they will give a fees of 50,000 to 1 lakh, and given the scope, they will have so much volumes on the LCBG or the bills, or maybe the cash related transactions. They may also have a SWIFT over there, so getting that done in 1 lakh fees is next to impossible. It is almost akin to doing one small foreign bank as a whole, a small branch of a PSU 50,000. It is akin to doing a whole branch bank as a whole in case of a foreign bank. So that would obviously will be there. So that are the on-ground challenges which will come. Delayed audit frequency is, I said, that would be obviously there if it is not done on the same time. Actual में मतलब you must be knowing, because of the shortage of staff or because of the shortage of the budget and everything, what will make sure rather than making our staff to go there daily, हफ्ते में एक दिन जाना बाकी पूरा काम हो जाएगा. That is what the reality is. So उसके बेसिस पे क्या होता है, एक हफ्ते बाई चांस नहीं गया तो वो लॉग आ गया पूछेगा पूरा. एंड अब सपोज एक हफ्ते में बैंक ने कुछ ज़्यादा ट्रांजेक्शन कर दिया तो उसको कंप्लीट करने में अपने को बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम लग जाएगा. तो ऑडिट फ्रीक्वेंसी डिले इज ऑब्वियसली हैपनिंग एंड दैट विल रिजल्ट इन टू द रिपोर्टिंग लैग एंड फॉलो अप. मतलब एक महीना बोलते हैं उसके बावजूद, मतलब अभी 7 दिन RBI बोलता है, बट बैंक्स गिव फॉर एन ऑडिट 10 to 15 days post completion of the month for issuing the reports. That is also possible now because now there is no physical audit reports. Most of the banks, including PSUs, are getting this concurrent audit report issued in their ethics or some of the other software which is already there, where only you have to tick yes or no whether you have covered or not that particular area. You are supposed to report on that particular area. So maybe we can cover what reality check or expectation from an advances point of view is what we can cover. Matlab, I need your views. What you think in advances and credit is an expectation? Anyone? Then I can give you a reality check what exactly is happening. So an expectation is what we think, an expectation from a regulator's perspective or from a bank's perspective. But as an auditor, what do you expect that in case of an advances and credit, what expectation is you are thinking the bank should provide so that the particular audit can be covered in a way? Any of the area, let's leave advances, any of the area. In case of deposits or KYC AML on IT system, treasury forex, what do you think is an expectation vis-a-vis? I can give you a reality check what is happening. Expectation जो है ना, expectation, ठीक है. Expectation obviously, as I said, in each of these areas. Now let's see cash handling, very easy. आप cash में handling में जैसे सबसे important what you guys will, what we as an auditor will do is a surprise cash verification कर लेंगे. That is an utmost part of the expectation. Surprise cash verification कर लेंगे. We will also see कि भाई कैश ट्रांजेक्शन लिमिट के ऊपर कितना गया वो भी देख लेंगे. बट इन रियलिटी एज आई सेड वन सेक कि एक तो रेजिस्टेंस आएगा आपको सरप्राइज चेक करने के लिए. बट डू वी ऑल्सो सी जो वॉल्ट मैनेजमेंट होता है उसके अंदर की मैनेजमेंट है, 2 जनों के पास की है, उससे हो रहा है कि नहीं. एंड इन रियलिटी यू विल सी दैट द फिजिकल रजिस्टर्स विच आर डन, CCTV है कि नहीं उस पर्टिकुलर एरिया में, and who all have got an access, जो उनका ड्रॉर होता है उसके अंदर क्या क्या रखा हुआ है. If it is gold checking, गोल्ड अगर ब्रांच मेरा गोल्ड वाला है, it has to go to lots of other extent. I have to physically verify the pouches. I have to see the pouches are unaltered. वो बंद ही हो रहना चाहिए हमेशा जो उसके ऊपर सील लगा हुआ है. और pouches का मेरे को काउंट वेट चेक करना है जो उसके ऊपर है ना. साथ में there is a valuation report of that gold which is already been punched. To need to check basis the weight. एक तो tear weight होता है with the gold tear weight, whether that tear weight matches with my weight which I have done. और जो वेट मशीन है उसका रिकैलिब्रेशन भी हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ, साल में एक बार उसका भी कैलिब्रेशन चेकिंग होना चाहिए. सो एक्सपेक्टेशन मैं बोलता हूँ वो इतने एक्सटेंट पे है कि अपने ज़्यादा सोच भी नहीं सकता. वो तो गोल्ड ऑडिट में वो कैलिब्रेशन हो गया, कैश में ये हो गया. एडवांसेज में मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम व्हाट वी वुड बी डूइंग इज checking new loans which are disbursed. But reality में the loan which we have given is already which has been outstanding. उसके अंदर जो various follow-ups है, कुछ communications हो रहे हैं उसके साथ that particular loan, और for that matter the DP checking or their insurance checking report से generate हो जाएगा, वो अपने check कर लेंगे. DP कैसे निकला वो कभी कोई check नहीं करते हैं. So advances may not only checking that, any news which is pertaining to that particular borrower which has been there, social media hai, it is very easy to check. That checking is an expectation because that is going to give you early warning signals. That EWS, which every bank is supposed to implement as per the RBI circular in last year itself, वो जो 15-16 check है, that how many of us as concurrent auditor are seeing? I think very, very less. But the banks need to track those early warning signals on a very regular basis. Even the banks people, because they are supposed to get automized. Some of the things are directly coming from the systems. Some of the things are related to the news or any particular thing happening to that particular area or that particular industry in which that particular borrower falls. Say similarly in advances, how many of us see that NPA automation related things has been implemented, but that is a part of the concurrent auditor scope, specifically in an NPA automation circular where the concurrent auditor needs to verify dual access controls or anything has been done manually within the system, which is hampering the NPA classification that needs to be checked by the concurrent auditor. How many of us are doing so? And which is very difficult because routine checking doesn't get completed itself. So how will we get into these things area where a specialization is required? So again, it boils down to the resource constraints, the budgeting and the costing which the banks have given, and the knowledge of the technological gap. So these are the major gaps or a reality check which is there. In each of these areas, we can find such sort of things where the reality check is very, very different from what we are doing as a concurrent auditor of the bank as a whole. So again, given the time constraint, so I'll just visual impact what needs to be done and what are the key performance indicators of our concurrent audit. I'll just it would summarize it better. The audit coverage percentage, what needs to be coverage, what needs to be covered, that needs to be ensured on a very specific level. That will help increase the efficiency. The detection rate of irregularities, obviously a transactional rate on it, a transactional audit which concurrent audit is, how many errors were checked on the basis of number of how many samples we have checked, that needs to be seen. Time to detection, whether that was done on a real-time basis or not, it is a key performance indicator for us. So, which is important. Why? Because, as I said, 6 महीने बाद पता पड़ेगा तो उसको recovery भी नहीं हो सकती है 6 महीने 8 महीने बाद. But if it is at least done on a weekly basis, then it is a possibility. And compliance achievement rate, any compliance-related things which were there, which reflect the percentage of regulatory requirement, internal policies, and the SOPs needs to be seen. And then the fraud prevention ROI. It is a very long shot, but that is the concurrent audit is the best bet which can detect a fraud prevention because it is doing on a day-to-day and basis and having a better learning curve and can at least form a pattern for this fraud prevention thing. So that's it from my end. Any questions I'm ready to take. RBI guidelines on concurrent audit? I'll give to them.
Hello. Check.
Okay, thank you very much. I got your question, sir. So it's related to the special audit report without giving any special fees. So आपने appointment letter देखा होगा, उसमें लिखा तो होगा कि
last clause is open.
Any additional work which is required, any certification or for that matter any additional area needs to be covered is covered within the same fees.
Yes, that is
कुछ
open.
नहीं कर सकते sir. Certificate कितने मांगते हैं? मतलब I think if you are doing a centralized or a big branch, they ask us almost 10 to 15 certificates which they are required to submit it not only to the bank, sometimes to the RBI also.
Yeah.
But we have to cover that. That is a reality again.
Yes.
I have one unique problem in fixed deposit. It was running since last 10 years, and it was for 1 year only. They were renewing every year. So now what happens on first day of that renewal, they got it encased. Okay. Now, old rate was 6.75% for 1 year, and what they applied at the time of encashment, it was premature. They considered it as a premature encashment, and they applied the 7% rate instead of 6.75. They were giving 6.75 interest, but while applying this premature, they applied the 7%, and they deducted from the deposit amount 600 rupees for that premature penalty. They said that this is the automatic calculation from the software, but we can challenge that software because this is a completely wrong thing. If I have deposited 1,000, they are deducting 600 as a premature penalty, and they are giving me 9,400 even if I have encashed on the same day, on the deposit date.
No, so these banks generally rate chart रहता है. So we need to follow that rate chart. Now the penal interest part, which penal interest or the penalty for early withdrawal of the deposit, that can be asked for and waiver can be provided by the bank. So they have that power. It is done from the system. If at the start it was a non-cancelable FD, and on that basis you have presented that FD, then they would obviously charge the particular penalty on that. But most times the penalty is on a percentage basis and not on a minimum 600 rupees basis. And nowadays it is on a percentage basis. What they will do is they will reduce the interest rate from 7% to 6% in your example. They will reduce as a penalty or a 50 basis point or something like that. But not necessarily, the 99% I say that it is on the percentage basis, 50 basis point or 100 basis point, rather than on actual amount basis. Because 1000 रुपये की FD जैसे अगर आपने कहा तो उसको तो मिला ही कुछ नहीं. So it is on percentage basis only. Yeah, so they are not supposed to do it, but in some banks when it is a non-cancelable, they can charge. Because they have to maintain the LCR and those things that comes into picture. If non-cancelable FD gets cancelled, then it becomes a bigger issue for the bank as a whole from RBI compliance perspective. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
So on behalf of Western India Regional Council and on behalf of everyone present here, I would like to extend our gratitude to our esteemed speaker. The session was very insightful. We all get good understanding of the practical reality in concurrent audit. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and effort. The session was really insightful. Now I request Virag sir to introduce our next speaker.